Hi, Daniel Morales here again. I thought of another movie to review, and there was one more thing I forgot to mention. This is my first time to be on video again, and I am a little shy, so if you could bear with me on that too. But anyway, I'm reviewing one of my other favorite movies, I should say. Like I said, I'm autistic, so I messed up my words. But my next movie I'm going to review is a scary one. I'm not usually a scary movie fan, but this one is less scary than its original. It is the 1986 remake of this movie based on the short story The Fly, released by 20th Century Fox in 1986. This is based off a short story of the same name. This is loosely based off of it, because in the original film in 1958, starring Vincent Price, it's about a woman who's being questioned by the police of why she killed her husband, and she wouldn't tell him that her husband turned into a fly. Especially that last scene that I can't take too much. That scarred me for life. It scared me half to death, where that little fly's yelling, "Help me." And does that scene give me the creeps? Anyway, this version I like the best. This centers somewhere in America. It centers on a scientist named Seth Brundle, played by Jeff Goldblum. This is one of his best roles before Jurassic Park, The Prince of Egypt, Independence Day, and some other movies that I know him from. But anyway, Seth had just created a new machine called telepods, which can transport things to one room to the other. His girlfriend, Ronnie, or Veronica, played by Gina Davis, was really impressed by that, but her old boyfriend, Stathis, was jealous of Seth's work. And he kept following Ronnie, and she was trying to make him go away. And one day, while he was drunk, not paying attention while he was testing the telepod on himself after another experiment gone wrong and accidentally killed one of his lab baboons, he decided to test the telepod on himself. So while he was not paying attention to his experiment, a fly snuck into the machine and fused itself in his DNA. Ronnie shows up the next night, sleeping with him, and she noticed that there's some kind of weird hairs growing on the back of Seth's back. And then, when he tries to get her into the telepod, she still refuses to go in there because he started behaving violent. And then he abandons her to test it on another girl. But then he was still drunk, and Ronnie comes in after he tells the girl to not be afraid, but she says, "Be afraid, be very afraid." And then when the girl runs off, Seth blamed her for scaring her off. And then Ronnie tries to tell him that, again, that something went wrong while he was testing the telepod on himself, but he refused to believe her and kicked her out. But when he noticed that his fingernails were coming out, pardon me for saying that, but that's how the movie goes, but his fingernails started to fall out, and then he figured out for the last minute that she was right all along. And he'd found the telepod that the fly snuck in there while he was testing on himself. And then when she showed up the next day, he was totally disfigured. His ear started to fall out. Ugh, don't even think about mentioning that. But then he started to get a lot worse, that he's starting to behave like an insect. And somehow he got her pregnant. And then Ronnie's trying to do everything to risk. She is the only person who could possibly help Seth Brundle turn back into a human before he becomes a hideous fly monster. I'm not going to get away with surprise, but I like this one way better than the original. It's less scary than the original one. It's kind of gross. But anyway, I like this one better. I got this Blu-ray at Barnes & Noble not too long ago, but anyway, I would eat before watching this movie. There's a lot of gross scenes in this movie besides horror moments. There's gross scenes, so if you don't want to, vomit while watching this movie, don't eat anything after watching this movie. So, and if you've seen this movie, it's really good. But if you guys aren't too scared to watch this movie, go ahead and watch it. But if you think that's too scary for you, don't check this movie out. So, but I compared this movie to John Carpenter's The Thing, including Alien and Predator. This is a really good horror movie. It's more science fiction than the original. And Howard Shore, the composer of the Lord of the Rings franchise, does the score of this movie before he did Lord of the Rings. That was a really excellent score for this movie. I have a figure for the Brundlefly monster, part of the Movie Maniacs toy series, but I don't have it with me, so... But when I first heard about this movie, I was trying to figure out what this was all about. But this was one of Jeff Goldblum's best roles before he was in Jurassic Park and many other movies. And Geena Davis even won an Academy Award before she was in Beetlejuice, including Thelma and Louise and A League of Their Own and the two Stuart Little movies. This is a really good horror movie. I love it. But like I said, if you don't want to be sick, don't eat anything after watching this movie. But this is really good. Give it a thumbs up if you like this video. And if you have any suggestions, let me know in the comments below. This is Daniel Morales signing out.